What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of Air Holler with me, MU37. I kind of forget where I'm at in this series. It's been about a week, maybe even more, since I flew. Over this past weekend, I actually tried to make a video twice. I'll show you. I'm not even sure I showed you all this. Actually, let me show you two things, because I'm not sure if I showed you this or not. We have a base in Midland now. Can't remember if I did that in the last video or not. Also, in our fleet, we have the A321. Not sure if I showed you that. We have the one from Turkish Airlines. Actually bought that not too long ago. Actually tried to make two videos with it. I'll tell you what happened with that. But anyway, I bought that probably not a week ago. Also, I made progress last night. I imported the 737s. Of course, these things aren't in order. There we go. 737s. Technically, I should have imported that and flown it before the A321 since it's a little bit smaller, but I already had the A321 in, and I didn't know if I was going to do the 737s when... But I got those imported last night with some different liveries. So we will fly one of those probably after the A321. I flew it a little bit yesterday. Man, that plane is badass. I love that plane. So like I said, I tried to make two videos. One of the problems was we had one in Huntington going to Dallas with the A321. And what happened was there's a thing called a cost index when you use the computer in the plane, the FMC or FMS, whatever it's called, the computer in there. You have a cost index, you go all the way, I think it's like 10 to 100, something like that. The lower you set it, the more economical the flight will be. Basically, you'll go slower. I had it at 80, and because it was such a long flight, I was using that 8 times speed instead of just the 4. Everything was doing fine, I guess. You do have the problem where just slight changes when you're doing 8x makes a huge difference. Like the altitude would get 2,500 feet off, so you'd be going up and down, and the plane's just banging around. And it was decent at 80, though. I mean, it wasn't causing overspeeds or anything. In the middle of the flight, I upped it. I can't remember if it was like 90 or 100, something like that. I upped it to, and it just started overspeeding because it would get so high, and then it would come down, and it would overspeed, and it was just a mess. And so I ended up aborting that and just let somebody else do the job. Then I had another one. Flew from Huntington. It was somewhere over in here. I can't remember exactly where it was. And right as I was about to make my approach, EZDok crashed. So I couldn't change my views. And when EZDok crashes, it does this weird thing where you're going in the video, and all of a sudden it'll pause for like a second, and then it'll start playing for a couple seconds, then pause for like a second. It makes it completely unflyable. And it actually happened in another video I made way back. I think maybe when I was flying the Barons or something. It happened when I was flying into Huntington. Couldn't figure it out, and it was EZDok crashing. And so that happened this time, and so it made it completely unflyable, so I had to end it. Had to end that flight, because I bounced it on the runway and then landed, but then went off the runway. It was just, when EZDok crashed, it became unflyable. Couldn't change the views or anything. So we're going to try again. I just picked up a flight. Let's see. Huntington to Midland. Okay, so it's 1,035 miles. It doesn't really pay that much, especially for as heavy as it is. But, it's a flight. We haven't had many flights at all. I just want to check and see is there anything else from Huntington to Midland that I can actually, like that. I really don't know if I want to fly anything valuable, because I haven't flown this plane very much. I haven't flown it in a while and didn't have it much than before. See, like, I can take that. That's another job. The thing is, this computer has that computer in it, or this computer has a computer, that the A321 has a computer in it, and I don't have enough. What is going on? I don't have a whole lot of experience. I don't have any experience with the A321 computer. I flew with the 747. I was hoping it was going to be really similar, and to be honest, it really isn't similar, like, at all. I mean, well, there's a little bit of similarities, but not much. So that's a little bit of a problem. I also don't want to fly with that because if we do 8-speed, man, that plane just bangs around. So that kind of scares me. I don't know if we should do that. Anyway, we got two jobs at least. So let's fly them. Huntington to Midland. So we can get 2 jobs out of this. Oh crap, wrong button. Alright, flying the A321. It's 1,035 miles. Wow. Somebody has forgotten some. Wonder who's flying that. Oh, that's not Midland. I don't know why I thought that was. That's Leo's job anyway. I got all my pilots screwed up as well. Not in the right planes and everything. Okay, so we'll go maybe whatever it takes to go 2,000. This is we're at Huntington, which is a 6,500, well, 6,498 feet. It's barely long enough. All right, everything is loaded, guys. I'll meet you in the cockpit. All right, everybody, we're here in the cockpit. Forgot I should have made one other view. I noticed that the other day. Should have made one more. Oh well. Control E for the startup. Sounds like my voice is really faint. What the heck is going on? I can check one thing. No, it's good. I don't know why it's really faint. Not sure if I'm coming through faint for you all. I hope not. It's already kinda low. Alright. Do one thing real quick. Turn these lights on. There we go. Now we can see. Now, to turn these screens on, if you can hear me. Oh, I don't know why it's so dim, or my voice. Alright, anyway, these screens, you turn them on with these buttons right here. These 2 screens. And the others, I believe it's these 2. Yeah, there we go. Alright. Now I can actually see this. Alright. I have no idea what that says. Oh well. That was the anti-skid. Now to the computer. I don't totally know how to do this. We're going to fly at 30,000 actually. I gotta remember how to do this, guys. I can never remember how to do this. Alright. KHTS. to KMAF. We'll do flight number 37. Cost index. That's what I was talking about earlier, right there. We're gonna go to 30,000. Align the IRS. See that discontinuity? I think that's how you say that. Clear, and you clear that out, and you'll see that we're good down to there. I'm not as good with this computer because I've not used it before as I am with the 747. And I'm not perfect at the 747s, but I have a lot more experience with it. As you can see, we have that route on the computer. This is just a direct to, like I said, I don't know how to do this when straight to the runway and everything. So what I'll do is, when we get close, I'll switch over to heading and then fly it in that way. Like I said, I should have had another view set up, but I forgot. I have no idea why those engines were up like that. Auto brake on max. That's what it wants. Signs on. I thought I had them on. Well, I don't have these signs on. Emergency lights are armed. Again, I don't know what button is making that do that, but whatever. Arm the spoilers. As you can see, the flaps are extending. Takeoff configuration. Alright. So I don't... I can't even remember TCAS. I don't remember. See, that's the problem. I haven't flown this thing in so long. Alright, we're just going to go for it. Now, I'm way over here. I'm going to have to go in the grass. Here in Huntington, when they sit you up, there's no other place that's big enough. You just crash right into the building and they sit you down. Also, this livery is all screwed up. The A320s, it all works. This one, not so much. So, can't really do any outside views. Luckily, the 737s and everything else work well. Not sure why it's just this A321 doesn't work. A320, everything else works perfectly. Now, some of the other planes, the A321, work just fine as well. But for some reason, this one doesn't want to. Alright. We're good to go across the runway. Big turn. Airport really isn't big enough. The runway is just barely long enough. You'll never find A321s flying in here. Now we'll go to the far end of the runway. flaps on it. Stop right here for a second. Turn that on. Come on, think. I don't know if I really don't know that button. Oh well. We'll use it. Just in case. Alright, let's go ahead and try to take off. There's a really weird sound. I have no idea what's wrong with the sound today. There's like a sound in that rushing air that's not going away. I don't think it's the air conditioning. Alright. Positive rate gear up. Start retracting the flaps. Alright, let's engage the autopilot. Let's get our, should have done this already. Get our altitude up. To 30,000. Alright, with the speed, you have to get it that... See if I can zoom in on it. See this line right here? You have to line it up with that to get the auto throttle engaged. If you go too far or whatever, it will not work. It'll keep on giving you a ding. And yeah, so you got to get that climb or whatever that stands for right there. Alright guys, I'm going to speed it up. As you can see, we're 1,028 miles away, nautical miles of course. So I'm going to go ahead and speed it up. I'll use 8 times. Well, 4 at first, make sure everything's going good. Then we'll speed it up to 8. So I'll be back in just a bit. Alright everybody, if you can hear me. So there's something, that fan should not be on. I don't know what the heck is going on. Anyway, let's check this out. So we're going to be on runway 10. This is right here. And it's 110.3. Pause this thing. I'm going to have to unpause it to enter the thing, though. Now that I think about it. Yeah, it won't go through. I don't know the course. I put that in. It's probably wrong, but I guess. I don't know. We also need to start our descent. So this is why I need another view. Let's see if I can go like this. So it's not bumping around on me. Alright, so we're about 70 miles out. So we actually better descend a lot quicker. We also need to get our heading. I'm not sure if I can see it. Guess we will be able to. Can't see it on the map. There we go. Now you can see it blue right here. Go back to my normal pilot seat view. Alright, I'm going to speed it back up. I'll be back in just a minute. Alright guys, this is the airport. We're descending too slow. Way too slow. So I'm going to have to come back around. We were going to come back around anyway to 10. Which is it would intersect here at 28, so about like that. So hopefully, by the time we get over there, we'll be down around 4,000, 5,000 feet. Speed it up just a little bit more. Be back in a second. Alright, I don't want that thing to get out of my screen. I'm going to start turning in towards the airport. Even though we're high. I can also slow it down. Although at our rate of descent, it's not going to make a whole lot of difference. Gotta get these landing lights on. I think everything's on. It's runway 10. I think it's more 16, 15, 14, 13, 12, 11. It's gonna be, we're gonna be close. See, 14, 13. We're almost. So I wish I was a little bit further to the right, actually. Let's see. Arm the spoilers. Medium on the auto brakes. Better start cutting in towards the runway. Alright, so not quite yet. Keep it about 3,000. So runway 10. Right in here. While we're low.
Sync rate. Sync rate.
Why are... screwed up now. Why I can't get that. Get some flaps out. This just turned into a total mess up. Why? We're at 10,000 feet, for the love of God. That's our frickin' airport. Oh, because the autopilot isn't connected. Jesus H. That explains it. Unreal. I totally butchered that. My bad. I never saw the autopilot become disconnected. What a cluster. You know what? See, I can't get the, Now we've got to check the map again. So it's directly right behind us. Let's go to the right just a little bit, and then back over to the left. See ILS. Well, those, not that it matters, but I don't know why I'm worrying about those lights right now. All the problems I've got. I really need this plane to get down. So we're not that far from the airport. This thing, we got to get down. Come on. Or spoilers. Alright, so we're not quite lined up. We probably got to go a little to the left. Just a little bit. But if I can get this... Or flaps. Can't even remember if I turned the localizer on at the right time. You see, it's runway's going like that. Here's 10, so that's how we have to come in. More flaps. There we go. Now it's going on some. Gear down. Alright, gears down unlocked. Slow down a little bit. As you can see, that red right there, if you go that fast with the flaps at this, how extended they are right now, you'll get damage. The yellow is about how slow you can go. You're in danger. Red, we're gonna stall. If you guys can even hear me.
Light slope.
I don't even know where the... Is that it? The green? Where you're supposed to be for the glide slope? I have no idea. Feels like it's taking us down a little bit. I hope I've got everything correct. It is taking us down. I hope we've got everything set. Yeah, it's got us. Hopefully, this goes good. You can actually let it auto land, but I don't want to do that on the first landing.
400.
Auto throttle's off. They won't go off.
200.
There it went off. Great.
100.
Wasn't ready.
50, 40, 30, 20, 10, retard. 110, retard. 5.
Bounced it. The hell, man. I was trying to get the auto throttles and autopilot to come off. It wouldn't. And when it did, I wasn't prepared because I was messing with it. Just about slammed it into the ground. Not good. But at least we didn't damage anything. So I'm going to exit to the right. That was a really crappy landing. I'm not sure why the autopilot and the auto throttles wouldn't kick off. Turn that fan on. It's major breakage. Should probably. I have no idea where I'm going. Let's go to the gates.
Airbus Tango Charlie Juliet Romeo Yankee request taxi to the gate. Airbus Tango Charlie Juliet Romeo Yankee taxi to the gate. Golf 4 via taxiway. Zulu Charlie Papa. Taxi gate Golf 4 using taxiway. Zulu.
Alright, if it's a long one, I'll again cut this out. Is that the air conditioning or the APU or whatever is so loud? I have no idea. I know it's not supposed to be on, whatever it is. It wasn't on before. Checked. Yeah, we're good. Enough. We're good enough. Not too bad of a taxi. I don't have all my lights on, I know. But it's really not any point now. And I'm not totally sure how to get the pushback. So I'm not sure if I should get so close. I'll go for it. I believe it's the other computer to the right. Is that a VC6? That's probably it's very parking brake. That could quite possibly be us. No, I don't think it is. So we do have one of our guys over here. I wonder what the hell that noise is. Alright, well, what is that? Can't figure out what that noise is. Alright, well, let's get the hell out of here. Get away from that noise. Do it this way. There's one. There's two. There we go. It was a crappy landing. I was messing with the autopilot, trying to get the autopilot off, trying to get the auto thrusters off. I was clicking it, didn't want to go. I tried to turn it off with the mouse wheel, it didn't want to go off. And then all of a sudden it did go off and I wasn't ready for it. And I have, let's see, I have some guys over here. You see this guy at Midland. What fleet is at Midland with me? There it is, the DC-6 number 2. That could have been us. And so it's here. What I did was, I was at the airport. If you're at the same airport as the one taking off, if it will not take it in one trip, like what was this one? Yeah, see, it was 31,000. I was over at the airport, and so because I was there, I was able to say that I was going to fly it, load it all up. See, that plane has a capacity of 28,000. The cargo was 31. So I've loaded all the cargo since they wouldn't have been able to. Then I got out and told them to fly the plane there. Instead of doing the job, to just fly the plane there. And then I can unload it, and he didn't have to do 2 trips. So that's how that worked out. Let's unload this. See? I actually have like several like that. Like at Wilmington. This is Wilmington to Duluth. I don't know if they ever made it there. I can't even remember who it was. Right there. Jasmine. In the DC-9. Yeah, she's there. So I can unload that. Bam. See, the cargo limit for that plane is like 47, 48. I was at that airport. I kind of cheated. I'm not going to do that again, but because I can't explain it, but that's what happened. Because I did that the other day, and then, yeah, I'm not going to do that again. I didn't cheat bad, but I was experimenting and realized I had screwed up, but whatever. Learning experience. Now check this out. I'm not sure if you guys ever saw this. Go to bank loan, cancel. That works. You can see our monthly overhead is 8.3. If you didn't see it in the last video, because like I said, I can't remember where we're at. We paid the monthly overhead, which was $2.2 million. It was only partial because we didn't own all the planes for the entire months. Then after I got the, after that, we were going to have a full month with those planes. It was like 5.5 or something. Then we got the Airbus, and it went up to 8.3, and Midland as well. But we have current cash of 9. What we'll end up doing, and then further episodes, we'll get another Airbus, which is 6.4. Then we'll get a 737. So we need over 11 million cash. So need a couple more million, and we'll be able to do that. Anyway, guys, that's it for this episode. I will catch you on the next flight.